Hey fam, and welcome back to Love Restored. I am your host, Marshaun Olaniyan. Today, we are going to be talking about the 10 lessons that I learned by working on self. Now, this is important because I get this question asked to me a lot, which is, what does doing the work actually mean? What does it look like? And a lot of people think that the work is one thing or two things or three things, and then, I can relax, I can rest. No, the work is incremental based. It is something that you notice or other people have pointed out to you that you work on. So, say for instance, your work is you have a lot of insecurities in your life and they show up in your relationships. You keep hearing this complaint over and over again. So guess what? The work is you you figuring out, okay, they said or he said, I'm insecure about him talking to other women. So now, even if he's gone or if he's still there, you're working on when you see him talking to other women that you're not automatically accusing him of cheating on you or automatically accusing him of wanting to sleep with the other person or automatically fill in the blank. You are holding your tongue and allowing him to tell you what the conversation was about if he chooses to, but also being secure enough to know he doesn't have to divulge that information if he doesn't want to. Now, that is pure example right there. So, we're going to discuss this 10 lessons that I learned by doing the work, working on myself. But before I jump into that, I want to tell you why I decided to come here and create Love Restored. And it is because a lot of us in our community didn't get the information that we needed in order to cultivate beautiful, healthy, romantic relationships, let alone marriages. So just like many of you out there, I had to bump my head over and over and over again. And I literally got sick and tired of bumping my head. I got sick and tired of the fact that I didn't get the information imparted to me at home, which is where I believe I should have got the information. I got it through the school of hard knocks, like many of you out there, because I didn't necessarily witness a lot of toxicity in my home, which was another reason why I was pretty upset why I didn't get more instruction on how to cultivate a beautiful relationship, the one that I saw growing up. There was no instruction, there was no talks, there was no feeding into this is what you should do, this is what you should look for, this is how you should choose your mate. Only thing that was talked about in the house is don't have sex, don't bring nobody home. So I had to figure it all out on my own. And needless to say, in my figuring out, I bumped my head too many doggone times until I took ownership and responsibility to say, even though I didn't receive the tips, tools, and strategies from my parents, it doesn't mean that now can take ownership on the way that I'm showing up in these relationships, because I am the only common denominator in all of these relationships and why they are not working out. My parents, nobody else is in the relationship but me, right? And you have to do that as well. So I created Love Restored here on KCCR specifically for us, because we are here telling our story our way. Now, before I jump into the number one of the 10 lessons, I want to thank you for deciding to be here, because I know you could have chose to be anywhere else. And again, your girl, me, Marshaun Olaniyan, is really, really happy and encouraged that you keep coming back week after week to get the information. And hopefully you are applying what you learn, because they say knowledge is power, but it really is applied knowledge is power. If you come here week after week and you get the information that you need, but you never apply it to your life, you never apply it to your relationship, I know your relationship, I know your life is not changing. It's not getting any better. It's only staying stagnant and or getting worse. So don't just come and listen. Don't just nod your head for these next 30 minutes. Look at what piece or pieces you can take from this and apply this to your own life. So now let's jump into number one. The first lesson that I learned by working on myself. Here's what the work looks like, ladies and gentlemen. The first thing that I learned by working on myself is that I had to embody and accept all of my flaws and begin to work on them. The ones that I saw that I could work on, the ones that people pointed out to me, right? To let me know that I'm not as perfect as I thought that I was. And those are the things that I had to start working on. So my flaw. I remember one of my brothers actually pointed out this flaw to me. It wasn't even a romantic partner. I had a tendency, and I say had, however, I'm still working through this one. I'm not perfect at it, but I am much better. So I have a tendency of getting too excited, and I want to cut you off and either finish your sentence or ask another question, because I it may come off as me feeling like mine is more important than yours, but it's really because I don't want to miss out on what it is that just popped into my head. I'm like, oh my God, I gotta ask this question. But I'm not realizing how rude that actually is. So because he pointed this out to me, I don't remember at this point. I know it's been at least 7 years. It's probably longer than that. It might even be a decade at this point. The point is, now I make a conscious effort not to cut people off and actually bite my tongue. I'm talking about physically bite my tongue in order to allow you to feel heard, because that's the thing. He did not feel heard speaking to me. So that is me working on that. I had insecurity issues, right? Specifically about my chocolate skin. I got teased oh so much in school, starting from middle school all the way through high school. Even my siblings teased me about my skin color, and because it's dark, right? And so I had a lot of these insecurities that I had to work through and work on. I had to say, hey, I love me. I had to start speaking words of affirmation and loving on myself and embracing my chocolate skin and all of the things. So I had to take what they deemed as flaws, and even some that I can actually see on myself as a flaw, and begin to work on them. I had to accept them first and then begin to work on them. So that's lesson number one. Lesson number two is that just like the work, right, that we're talking about here today, nobody can do your work for you. Nobody can do my work for me. I have to embody and embrace the fact that I'm doing my own work. And guess what? I have to do my work on balancing my emotions. I am the only one who can balance out my emotions by doing the work on myself. No one can do my work for me. No one can regulate my emotions for me but me. I used to be a little shaky, especially in the dating world, because I had such low self esteem and I was a very insecure woman. 18, 19, 20. I had no idea who I was, how I was showing up in the world. I just wanted somebody to love me. And I realized that I needed to start to love me first before anybody else could love me. That is actually why I preach about that so much, because I've been there and done that. I was always looking for love outside of myself. And when I really came to myself and started understanding how much worth and how much value I bring to my own table with myself first, and then how the world is seeing my value that I'm exuding to the world, it's a game changer. It's a game changer when you realize how much worth you are worth. It's a game changer when you realize that you have to love you first. Nobody else can come in and replace the love that you have for yourself. If you don't have it for yourself, there's no way an outsider can give it to you, not more than you can give it to you. And so I had to figure out, okay, that's a weakness, that's an insecurity. Here's my work. Here's how I start balancing my emotions. I remember I would get so insecure whenever a guy wanted to go out and do something without me that I was dating. I didn't realize that it was insecurity, but I really just wanted somebody to love me. Again, I didn't realize I needed to love myself first and foremost, and all the way in love with me. And guess what? If he decides to go out there and cheat, if he decides to go out there and choose somebody else, even if he decides to break up with me, his loss. His loss. So why am I insecure about that? Because I can't control him. He has to control him. He has to control his emotions. He has to control his man downstairs. I cannot do any of the controlling for him. So I had to work on my insecurities. I had to work on balancing my emotions. The third lesson that I learned by working on myself is that Marshaun Olaniyan, play a role in each of my relationships and why they did not go further or to the next level, or even why they broke up. I played a part in all of those relationships not working out. Am I perfect? Absolutely not. Was the other person perfect? Absolutely not. Maybe I was a little too immature, or both, or one of us was too immature in order to cultivate a healthy relationship, in order to cultivate a healthy marriage. And so I play a role whatever that role is, right? I told you I had insecurity issues when I was in relationships, right? So I know that some of my insecurities were coming to the surface. I remember this one guy told me that he actually didn't want to go further with me in dating because me didn't take hearing the word no well. And I was just like, I mean, who does? Most people don't, however, right? I guess I was acting like a little baby about it. Well, no, I don't want to hang out, or no, I'm going over here, and no, I don't want to bring you, right? And not being mature enough to handle the word no. So yeah, I guess I went down the wrong road and ran some men away who were seemingly good men at the time. But now I understand we attract where we're at. And so if I was insecure in some way, even if he didn't exude it in the exact same way, he was also insecure. That's a different show. It's a different show. So that's what I learned as well. Okay. I played a role in the demise of each of those relationships that did not stand the test of time, that did not go to the next level, where we did not become boyfriend and girlfriend, let alone husband and wife. I. Yes, he did his stuff, but I'm not talking about him. I am taking full ownership of my stuff, things that I brought in order for the relationship not to work out. The fourth kind of ties into the third, at least a tiny bit, is I chose men based off of where my self esteem was. So, as I mentioned before, I had very low self esteem. And so, if you were a man that I had some sort of sexual attraction or physical attraction to, and you were showing me some attention because I didn't have high enough standards, I pretty much gave you a chance because I had low self esteem, right? And in my low self esteem stage and phase of life, if you met some in the physical and you showed me attention, you got some playback, not realizing there is a whole lot more that goes into just the physical and me being sexually attracted to him. So I chose men based off of where my self-esteem was. So because my self-esteem was so low, I was willing to accept a lot of things that I never should have accepted. I was willing to do a lot of things that I should have never done. Now, they weren't super bad now that I'm thinking about it. However, they were still things that I'm not proud to necessarily tell the world and share all of my business with, okay? But, right, when you're desperately seeking outside validation, we have a tendency to do things that we feel ashamed of later on. I have some of those too. Your girl's no different. So I chose them based off of where my self esteem was. The fifth lesson that I learned working on myself is that knowledge isn't power unless you apply the information that you learn. So, as I mentioned earlier, right? I totally just mentioned this exact same one earlier. If you come here, you get all these tips, tools, strategies, and you do nothing with them, then is the knowledge that you have really powerful? No, it's not. You get power in applying the information that you get. If you hear something here tonight and you just take this one, I'm not even saying I got 10, right? If you take this one idea, if you take this one thought and you go and ponder and reflect on it, as well as do something about this one thing, your relationship will be 10 to 20 times better by applying this one thing. 10 to 20% is what I meant to say, not time. 10 to 20% better by coming here, getting this one tool, working on this one thing, and applying it. Knowledge is not power unless you utilize the knowledge that you are gaining. When I started to gain knowledge about men and their psyche and how they view women and what they're actually looking for in a mate. And is this every man? Absolutely not. But it was generalized enough for it to be super powerful for me because I had no idea what men wanted, what they were looking for, how they actually go to the next level to make a woman, to ask the woman to be the girlfriend or the fiance or the wife. I had no clue as to how any of that worked. And so when I started taking online courses, I was getting this information, I was taking in this knowledge, I was reading all of the books that I can get my hand on. So I got a lot of knowledge, right? But it only became powerful when I started to date and attract newer men, and I started to apply the strategies that I learned inside of the books, inside the course. And I remember the course. I went through that course about 7 times because number one, they kept adding new modules to it. And so I wanted to get all the new information. Number two, I had to rewind and go back to things because I was like, am I doing this right? I wasn't necessarily taking notes like I do now. So there's a third aspect of it. So I had to keep going back, but I wanted to get as much as I can and understand as much as I could in order to be better next time around. In order to be better next time around. So before we go into number 6, let's pay some bills. Let's pay some bills around here. You are listening to KCCR The Brownstone. KCCR The Brownstone. You're specifically listening to Love Restored with your host, Marshaun Olaniyan. I have a question for you. Have you visited the Brownstone Worldwide? Have you visited Brownstone Worldwide lately? If you have not, then please go ahead to go to the website and check it out to see all of the things they have to offer there. The spices, right? Now we have Brownstone Living, which is the magazine, which there is an affiliate link attached in the show notes or down below somewhere on the screen where you'll be able to click the link, go to my affiliate, right? And I'm saying affiliate specifically because when you decide to become a subscriber, monthly subscriber to Brownstone Living, then I do receive a small portion of that amount monthly. But here's the thing for you, right? What's in it for you? What's in it for you is that you're going to get curated content, all from people that look like you. The entire magazine is created by all of the people that look like you. Number 2 is only $5.99 per month for the digital copy. Number 3, you're going to get so many tips, tools, and strategies there, not only for your relationship, but also for your money, also music, also the spices, also there's a whole bunch of information there. So as we talked about knowledge being power, go out there, get the information, apply the information, make it more powerful by just investing in yourself monthly, investing in our community monthly, right? And if you have yet to download your apps, or the app, I should say, on all of your smart devices, then go ahead and do that as well. So you can keep up with not only myself, but the other beautiful personalities that are here on KCCR, The Brownstone, because we are here telling our story, our way. Now, let's get back into number 6. The 6th lesson that I learned by working on myself is that getting to the next level in this thing that we call life, or in our love life, or in our business, is all about who you surround yourself with and what you expose yourself to. Because what is that saying, that you are like the five people that you're around? I know I'm totally messing this up, but the 5 people that you're around, like your bank account looks anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000 in the realm of the 5 people that you hang around the most. I know I'm totally messing up that saying, but it's something like that, right? And so here's the thing. I want to be better in my relationships, specifically the relationship with myself. I want to be better in my love life. I want my business to be better. I want my entire life to be better. And so now I got to hang around those people, which is why I go to business conferences, which is why I read love books, which is why I impart that information to you, which is why I decide to sit down and reflect on the life that I am currently living. And then how do I want it to be better? What can I change and shift? How can I, get to the next level by doing X, Y, and Z? How can I make my stocks better? How can I make my portfolio better? How can I make me better? Am I exercising enough? Are the exercise correct? Is my form correct? So I'm doing a whole lot, and I have to be around the people that are in these mindsets. So not all of my friends are relationship based people. I'm around doctors, I'm around lawyers, I'm around relationship related people, I'm around financial people. I'm around a lot of people that can help me in a lot of different areas of my life, because I don't want just one area to be good. I want all my areas that I'm aware of to be good, right? So I want to get to the next level in my life. I have to now cherry pick the people that I allow into my life. And that's exactly what I do. I will remember telling one of my girlfriends that I have strategic friendships. And she was like, what? And I was like, strategic friendships, because of where I'm at in my life, I have to be careful about the people that I bring around my child. I don't just allow anybody to come into my world like maybe I did when I, it's different now, right? Now I got to make sure she's protected, because I'm a protector, or at least one of her protectors. She has to be protected. That includes the people that I surround myself with that get access to her. I have to make sure that the people that I give access to her are good people, that they are not going to put her in harm's way in any kind of way. So I want to level up all areas of my life, not just one, not just my relationship. And you have to figure out if that's what you want to do. The seventh lesson that I learned by working on myself is that I had to watch everything that I allowed into my home, into my ears, into my eyes, right? Because it does matter what I expose myself to. It does matter about the things that I'm listening to. It does matter what I believe and what I'm bringing because of my beliefs into my life. A lot of people don't realize that all of the music that you're listening to, all of the music that you're exposing your, all the music and movies and books and podcasts and YouTube channels and all of the other things that you can think of, that how we're, social media sites as well, that we are allowing into our world and into our space. I have to figure out how to protect myself. And so I don't listen to a lot of music that is talking about women are bees or women are hoes and all this other stuff. Nah, that ain't the music that I want to entertain, because I don't look at myself as a bee. I don't look at myself as a hoe. So it's not really what I want to start singing all day, every day. Can I get into the beat? Yes. And that's a lot of the side story. But when I was younger, I would notice when I got older, some of the songs that I would listen to when I was younger, because when I was younger, I was just listening to the beat. And if the beat was good, I'm like, ooh, this is, I'm getting up dancing, because dancing is my thing, right? But then as I got older, I started to listen to the words, and I'm like, I used to, that's what they saying? What? Click, change. No, even it's not limited to the news. I do not watch the news. I do not watch the news. The news is so depressing. And guess what? Because all of the horrible things sell, that's exactly what they give us day in and day out. So now if I'm feeding myself with all of this horrific stuff day in and day out, how do you think I'm going to start looking at everybody in the world? Because I know everybody's not out to get me. However, do I know that there are some sick people out there? Absolutely. Do I know that racism happens? Absolutely. Do I know that they are killing people that look like me? Absolutely. I'm well aware of that. But do I need to listen to that all day, every time the news come on? Do I need to be sitting, planting my butt right in front of the TV? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I refuse to take in that negativity day in and day out. Every time they playing doggone news, it's hardly ever anything good. What we see on the news is all the bad stuff in the world. I don't want to expose myself to that all day, every day, and then expect for me to have a good day. Expect for me to look at people that don't look like me good. Feel like they are not out to get me. Are there people out there like that? Absolutely. But guess what? Here's another thing. This is a bonus. This ain't even on my list. Some people that look like me have been out to get me and have tried to get me fired, have tried to get me raped, have tried to get me. What is those date rape drugs? Yeah. So people that look like me have tried to get me too. It ain't always the people outside of your community that's trying to get you. I digress. Lesson learned. I have to be careful of all of the things that I expose myself to, including the places that I go to, because I didn't say that earlier, but all of it matters. Absolutely all of it matters. So I'm usually reading a book. I'm usually listening to a podcast, but specifically it's usually a book. However, I do listen to podcasts and or YouTube videos like motivational and inspirational, and I like to listen to the person's story even if I don't know anything about them. So I listen to a lot of things, and then I listen to a lot of business stuff. I am really taking and embodying all of the things that I want to change or up level that's in my life currently. This is what the work looks like. This is what the work looks like. It's not just in your relationship. It's not just in your money. It's not just at your body. It's all of these things, because I'm trying to do the work in all of these areas simultaneously. Am I doing the best at each one? Absolutely not. Something is falling by the wayside. However, I am doing what I can do. So I watch what I expose myself to. I only listen to a handful or maybe two handfuls of people that I can name off the top of my head, because their message resonates with me. How they speak resonates with me. Yeah. The eighth lesson that I learned by working on myself is that my life looks the way that it does based off of all of the previous choices that I made. Not anybody else. Can't blame, shame, or make anybody else feel guilty about the way my life looks. It's my life. And so now I'm taking full ownership and full responsibility for my life and the way that it looks. But it looks this way today, currently, because of the choices that I previously made. Good, bad, happy, sad, indifferent. It looks this way because of what I did yesterday. It looks this way because of what I did years ago. And that's the way, and that's why your life looks like that as well. Your previous choices. If you don't like your choices that you made from the past, you can't change them. However, you can make sure that you are making better and different choices today forward. None of us can go back. All of us have something that we are ashamed of or guilty of or wish we had never freaking done. However, we did those things. You got to own those things. Make better choices now, because your past does not dictate your future. Your choices, what you do today, is what's going to dictate your future tomorrow. Number 9, the ninth lesson that I learned by working on myself is that I now only make time for the people that make time for me. The people that make me a priority are the same people that I make a priority. If you are not making me a priority in your life, I am not making you a priority in my life. I remember when I used to chase friendships, I used to chase men. I don't do that any longer. If you are calling me, I am calling you. If you are texting me, I am texting you. If you are making sure that we make even play dates with our kids, I also make sure that I do that. I never want to be in another one-sided relationship ever again. And so I surround myself with quality people. That's it. No flakes. And if I find out you're a flake, if I feel like you're a flake, I'm going to say something to you, because I want to give you the opportunity. Maybe you don't know that you're being flaky. I don't know. I can't read your mind. I have a feeling about it, but I don't know. I want to at least give you the opportunity to do something different, to make a better choice. However, after I've had that conversation with you and you're still going down the rabbit hole of making bad choices, in my opinion, being flaky, then I just release you to your destiny. I don't keep you around. I'm good. Totally good. I don't need that. I am deciding to create the life that I want to create with the people that I want to create this life with. And everybody else can do you. Not mad at you. Don't want you to be mad at me, but even if you are, don't really care. I'm creating and cultivating my life. And you have a choice to cultivate and create yours as well? Do you? The 10th and final lesson that I learned by working on myself is that all of my failures were my greatest teacher. Anytime I'm doing something and it is good, it is great, it worked out, I'm not really learning anything else from it, right? However, all of the things that I did wrong, all of these lessons that you heard, if you heard any of my other 10 lessons in this series, then you know I've made a plethora of mistakes. I have made a plethora of failures. And each one of those failures, I have learned something from it. They have been my greatest teacher on how to change things around, to do things differently, to walk a different path if there is no path, to create my own path, to be the first in my family in a lot of things that I've done. It doesn't matter what those things are. Just know that I am very intentional now that I understand about me having to be aware, me having to be conscious, me showing up in a way and in a manner that is respecting myself because I want to be seen as a respectable woman. So I am showing up in that way, but not just in the public eye. I'm very intentional about being that same person behind closed doors. So the person that you see me here on Love Restored is the same person if you meet me in person, with the exception that I am a little goofier. I laugh a lot more. I love to joke, I love to dance and just be free. That is the difference. Here is a teaching platform. Outside, you'll see me more free, open, ha ha, he he. These are my 10 lessons that I learned by working on myself. You are listening to Love Restored by your host, Marshaun Olaniyan, here on KCCR, The Brownstone. If you want to get in touch with me outside of KCCR, then look me up on www.marshauno.com. That's www.marshauno.com. Or you can send me an email at marshaun@marshaunolaniyan.com. That is my first and last name. So Marshaun @marshaunolaniyan.com to send me an email. I love you guys, and there's nothing that you can do about it. Thank you so much for giving me these 30 minutes of your life, because you could have been anywhere. As I mentioned earlier, please, please, please take 1, 2, 3 of these lessons here today. See how they played out in your life. Reflect on this so you can not only have the information, have the knowledge, you also can apply this to your life and your future. I'll talk to you soon. Bye, y'all.